Excuse me. Greetings. I'm Angela Bixby. I am founder of Energy Intuit. It's my business name, creatrix of the Conscious Psychic Program. That's my flagship program that I've had since 2012, where I work with people and facilitate psychic development and spiritual awakening growth in the context of a hybrid coaching program. Long-term relationship building with your mentor and your peers, psychic development program. So welcome. I'm glad to be here today on Wednesday, August 2nd, getting in just a couple minutes after the hour, noon Eastern time here. I'm in the greater Philadelphia area. Welcome to anyone that's new here. This live today is atypical. What I typically do is come to you with a little slice of teaching, sharing for the purpose of teaching, uplifting, supporting, all of those things that I do as a consciousness mentor, intuitive channel, professional psychic medium, mentor, all of that. And today's different because Spirit, I was sort of sitting with Spirit and have been sitting with Spirit all week, asking them what to bring through. There's been a lot going on, a lot of downloads. There's just sort of a lot of directions that I could have gone with this live. And they said, talk about alien disclosure by the US government. This is a question that's on people's minds. So what I'm going to do is work a little bit with my council to address just a couple of quick things that they're wanting to bring through in response to this. They're intended to support all of you that are here in terms of the sharing of information in this fashion. It's very rare that I do live channelings for a whole lot of reasons. One of them being that when I'm in that space, while bringing in higher dimensional messages, tends to sort of occlude by about 80%, Spirit saying 82 to 84%, it will occlude the space where negative things could come in. There's still room for negative things to come in. I have no fear about all of that. I don't fear that. I know how to channel. I know what I'm doing. I teach people to do it. I've been doing it for a while. My point is that's the reason why live channels are less common and that I do them less commonly. And so know that this is a little bit of a special treat from the guides and the council that they want to kind of bring this through. So given that I don't have someone here interviewing me, posing the questions for me to answer and respond to, know that I'm in dialogue in my head with this council with a few questions about sort of why now, what does this mean for us as a country, species, planet, etc. So I'm kind of going with some of those bigger, broader questions to bring through what it is that they want to bring through about this alien disclosure by the US government last week. There's this congressional hearing, etc. of what's going on. I'm not going to get into a lot of the dark fourth dimensional stuff, but I will address it a little bit. So before I jump into a little bit of this channeling, what I will say to you, and this is what I say to my students, is different dimensions of consciousness. We live in the third dimension, with fourth dimension. Fourth dimension is what I call kind of the journey dimension. It's where psychic messages fly around the fourth dimension. A lot of governmental organizations and different types of in control systems around the planet tend to be fourth dimensional in nature. When you hear people talk about sharing, I think reptilians are leading the government, et cetera, yeah, reptilians are kind of like fourth dimensional, ickier galactics that do drive a lot of decisions that seem to happen in bigger organizations. So I'll say all of that. I'm not going to get into a lot of that in the channeling because I don't hang out there. I don't hang out in that fourth dimension. When people die, they go to the higher echelons of the third dimension and the lower echelons of the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension, very simplistically, is still very rife with dualism and a lot of ego. And so you get a lot of things that come with ego, which we all have and will all have until the day we die. It's not all bad at all. I'm just focusing on the negative aspects of it to highlight this about the fourth dimension. Ego constructs are about control, they're about power over, they're about right, wrong, black, white, right? Like kind of deciding, no, this way's right, this way's wrong. And they tend to be a lot more selfish, right? And self-oriented and less about what goes on when we get up into the fifth dimension, which is about unity consciousness and kind of rising above ego and being above dualism. It doesn't mean, it means unconditional love, and it also means loving people with boundaries. We're not meant to be unboundaried when we're in that kind of space. As we grow and expand spiritually and consciousness wise, we will likely be in the higher perspective of sort of loving everyone and being less affected by people's personal choices. But it doesn't mean that we get to a point while we're living in this body of being totally unaffected by other people's choices. It doesn't mean that we don't dip into a lot of egoic stuff ourselves. For a lot of reasons. We're growing as humans, right? We're evolving. We've all got a lot of woundings. We're all kind of healing throughout our whole lives. And so we might feel like we're in higher dimensional energy, a lot higher dimension, fifth dimensional perspectives. And then a core wound might be triggered in us by an exchange that happens, you know, on the street, at the store, by a friend, by a family member, whatever. And, you know, we're kind of in that ego struggle again. So we don't ever really come out of our ego. We can rise above it a lot more. But point being, bringing it back to the point of this live, because I can ramble a bit. Most of the control structures as they exist now on the planet in terms of governments and things and world leaders are fourth dimensional in nature. I'll leave it at that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and see what this council would like to bring through. Fear not, we say to you, this is good news. These are things that you all already knew were happening. We say to you that perhaps your government in your United States is a little bit late to the party in terms of their admission of the knowing, of the declassification of the information. This is what they do. This is how they run. They trust that they are safeguarding their individuals, their humans, their organization, their power structures by delaying acknowledgement of things that they want to tell you that they will vet and ensure that they're not going to hurt people with the information that they share and declassify and expose and disclose, period. Full stop. Late to the party. We say late to the party they were, late to the party they are. And this is okay. This is not a judgment. We say to you that admission was inevitable. Admission, disclosure, we call it admission of the facts was inevitable. For there is far more going on in the galaxy, your galaxy, all of the galaxies, the universe. It is large, it is vast. There are many of us. We are a huge, huge community, as you may know it, huge collective of lots of different players and planets and energies that are all getting along in the ways that we are. So we say they were a bit late to the party in that the information was not meant to be contained for this long in these ways, period, full stop. We say to you that more will come through, more will come out. This was a way to soften the blow. This was a way to say yes, and yes, but yes, this, but there's still controlling some information, as you all know and can imagine, and it's fine. It's how they're choosing to approach the situation. Some say face saving, some say cowardly. Who knows? We are not here to judge. We are here to share information through Angela to you all about what is going on, what the bigger picture is. There's a leveling of the playing field, we say to you, and your government knew that it was time to bring the information to the party, sort of turn in their toys. They're showing me them turning in like Nerf guns and things like that, like kids' outdoor yard toys. The leveling of the playing field involves a lot of different things. We mean the governments on your planet are reluctantly deciding how to proceed and coming together in ways, some of them are very new to them. Many on your planet consider what we would call what you would call a new world order. And we say to you that centralization of power of systems around your globe is a deep consideration, for centralization does not solve problems in the ways that we think they might. So keep an eye out for centralization, as centralization may be a stop along the path. It might be part of your progress as a species, as a planet that's placed in a galaxy and is amongst many galaxies, and all are meant to be more cohesive than they have been on your planet. It is new, it is progress, it is growth, and there are things that are beneficial about centralization and things that are not beneficial about centralization. So we say to you, continue to bring in your knowing and your sense of reading the changing winds and tides on your planet. We enjoy you from the standpoint that you all work individually and collectively. We see how you behave, and that you behave with compassion in ways that many other species that are galactic are less in touch with, for emotionality is at the core of how you run as humans, and we do not, essentially. Angela will say to many about galactic energies that galactics lack an emotional body. And this is true to a degree. More so, we say, when we're dealing in consciousness and communicating on the consciousness superhighways that we do, when we're communicating through consciousness, many of those energies, as we are for Angela, are not embodied. We are consciousness waves. We are collectives of consciousness. Without a body, there isn't an emotional body in the ways that you all directed individually in the ways that you do. So you are a planet of individualism. You are a planet, you are a species. Your humanity is one of individual silos, we say, in ways that come together for the good of all, until you feel that they don't benefit the good of all, and you make your changes and your connections and your ways that you deal and relate to other humans, other individual silos on your planet. This is a strange and different way of species running on a planet than many other planets are accustomed to. And so the ways of our planets that we represent and come from, whether in physical form or in consciousness form, run differently. They're shifting gears here. They're starting to show me images of like tourists looking at the Grand Canyon and things. They're wanting to kind of come out a little bit of what they're getting into, this rabbit hole about individualism versus sort of collective stuff, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just letting you know that there's a shift here in how the messaging is coming through. It's not for any kind of daunting reason. We leave you with a message. We say to you, marvel at the glory of the ways that your planet has formed, is forming, and continues to evolve. Your planet is emoting now. That is a big part of what's going on with your environment, ecologically, etc. Your planet is emoting. Your planet is emoting. It is burping and kicking up and out things that are no longer sitting very well with it. It's on its own evolution. You all as a species are on your own evolution on your planet. And this business of us being exposed and disclosed about is nothing new to many of you. We say, when you're encouraged to marvel at a metal ship, question whether that is the consciousness that is speaking to you now. For we say to you that there is great diversity in all of these topics and things that can come up with this disclosure business about evil empires and planets and ships and substances, etc. Your scientists have known for a long time, when they encounter substances and elements that are not on there, things like periodic charts, and they can't discern that they came from your planet. They've known for a long time that star beings and other galaxies and other communities and other councils exist. Trust that there will be more divulged, trickled out, dripped out in ways that may be interesting to some and less than fascinating to others. We will say to you finally that as you move for physical proof in your third dimension, know that any species that reveals themselves to you, their flying machines to you, are likely closer to the third dimension than they are to the fifth dimension, as Angela talks about it. And so we say to you, proceed with caution. This is not sounding an alarm of fear. We say to you, consider what you are asking for and what you are wanting to do. If you are wanting to see ships and engage with hard metal ships, you are asking for this consciousness to come to the third dimension, which is rife with dualism and ego and some of the ickiness of the fourth. So we caution you from being so insistent upon some absolute knowing of what this means, what these are, and what they mean for you. Stay high, fly high, stay in the consciousness versus the physical evidence is our best advice for you. Trust that the ways that you all as individuals are moving your planet forward are far more important than some of these larger structures and systems and what they think of how your planet should be moved forward. Period, full stop, amen. Thank you. So there's a lot kind of flying around in what they're sharing and what they're bringing forward. And as I said, when I began, they wanted to kind of come through and start to talk a little bit about this topic. And obviously there are a lot of things touched on, a lot of things talked about consciousness in different dimensions, the need for physical proof. These kinds of channelings are going to open up and move things within you. If you observe, take in, listen to a channeling like this, like mine, or so many people are channeling on the planet, and I am going to be I'll be channeling more publicly soon. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be on YouTube, how it's going to be, but my guides have been bringing in messages to me. So there is going to be a shift soon in my channeling in terms of reach and how it's getting out there and going out there, and etc. But point being, as you consume, as you take in content like this, pay attention to how you feel in your body. Even with what I channel from whom I'm channeling, listen to what feels right for you in your body. You'll consume information, and you probably already have this when you sort of go out to YouTube or go to different places to consume information. Listen to what feels right for you in your body. Now, if you're listening to me channeling or anyone channeling and you're like, yeah, that feels right. Yeah, that feels right. Ooh, that doesn't feel right for me. Ooh, that doesn't feel right. It doesn't mean that you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. All of us are going to be bringing through things that are sort of truer for some bits of information are going to be truer for some than others. This comes down to individual differences, individual soul contracts, individual reasons for being on this planet and playing the role that we are and being in the body that we are while we're here. So because you're discerning and feeling in your body, which I strongly recommend everyone do, what feels right to you and what doesn't feel right for you, it doesn't mean that it's wrong for other people. So begin to get comfortable with embodying your beliefs. Some of you are here to do so more righteously. So some of you might say, yeah, slash and burn. Someone says anything that I don't agree with, forget it, and canceling them. I'm not listening to them. That's fine. Some people are here for that. Most of the people are a bit more in the midland region, is what how spirit would call it, in that they're experiencing and consuming information and turning on to and tuning into what feels right in their system. And not everything's going to feel right in their system. It doesn't make the person a charlatan. It doesn't make the person a perpetuator of bad information. And then consider the tone and the delivery too. So move with grace, be kind to each other, stay supportive of all of these interesting topics that are kind of opening up, and they're going to unfold in ways that none of us necessarily saw coming, right? Even myself. I mean, I had a lot of symbology come through in January about this time period right now, end of July, beginning of August. And it's not unfolding in the ways that I thought as a human it might back in January, February. And I can see where so many things that are going on right now are actually in alignment with the messages I was getting at the beginning of the year. So my point is spirit has a beautiful way of keeping us guessing a little bit, surprising us. And divinity, it looks a lot different than how we would like to perceive things egoically. So that just points me back again to the filtering. Like when you're filtering the divine, this is a huge concept. It's big energy moving through you. You all are sparks of the divine. And remember that with our filters and with our egos, it's not so much that we get things wrong, but a lot of times we'll filter information to the degree that we need to hear it and understand it as a smaller step along our progression, because then maybe in 6 months, we'll have a different understanding of something that we used to shun. So remember that as you stay present to your responses, your reactions to information that you consume as we move through these tumultuous and transformative times, you're strengthening yourself, you're strengthening your subtle energy body, you're strengthening your beliefs, you're strengthening your values, you're staying open to evolution as more information comes through to you, whether literally from things like government disclosure, fourth dimensional constructs, or from, divine information that you're getting from spirit. All right. A little all over the board today. Thank you guys for your patience and grace as I do something new, as I have today in this live. And remember that I'm always open to receive questions, topics, queries, conundrums from you along the lines of psychic development, energy hygiene, this galactic stuff, any of these metaphysical topics. This is my life's work now for the rest of my life. I love it. I love to teach. I love to share information with you to the extent that it supports you. So always remember that if you've got a question and you'd like to have me address it in this fashion, feel free to shoot me a DM, send me a text, send me an email. A couple of housekeeping things. 3 events this month in August. They're all on Zoom. I'm working all online now. I have been all online since 2020. By the way, when I started my career back in 2010, when I was in psychic school, this second career, actually launched it in 2011. I knew that I would be working in person for a while and then shifting to all online. So my all online didn't come directly out of COVID. The pandemic hastened it. And that's one of the ways that I'm like, okay, this is where we're going to next. So all of my events are online. Tonight is an automatic writing workshop. Tonight, August 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern via Zoom. There's a link in the event below to register if you'd like to join. There are seats. I channel in 3 distinctly different guides and you all auto write with them for 20 minutes. It's a profound experience. You get to experience 3 different personalities of guides as I hold them here, and you get to write with them. You engage with them in your own notebook with your own questions about your own life and the ways that you want to. You don't have to share. Second, there is a remote viewing workshop on August 16th. Sorry, I had to reach for that one, which again, 2 weeks from tonight. So in that case, we will be viewing 3 different targets. I will be facilitating these experiences for you. That's my hallmark, is experiential teaching, sort of creating and holding space for you to have these experiences with your guides, with the remote viewing and the remote viewing workshop, etc. So again, that's from 6 to 8 on Wednesday night, August 16th. Lastly, August 25th is when the next Awakening Circle will be. That's a 3-hour event from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, where I trans-channel for the first half from lots of different types of guides. Second half, everyone in attendance gets individual messages answered from the guides that I channel. They're varied. They're very varied. They're all higher dimensional, 5th, 6th, and above. Ascended Masters, Archangels, Galactic, all kinds. The councils that I work with, etc. So you can, to the Awakening Circle, you can bring personal questions. If you want to have a couple questions answered, you don't want to pay for a whole reading, or you don't want to dip into a reading in that way, it's a great quick way to get some questions answered from spirit if you'd like a little bit of fine tuning. So that's August 25th for the Awakening Circle, 6 to 9 p.m. That's a 3-hour event. The others are 2-hour events. They're all $40. All right. I hope you are all well. Feel free to reach out if I can be of support to you. And I am wishing you grounded and peaceful Augusts. Thank you. Bye.